I think for me, BECU is just a place where I feel valued. It's a place that I feel more than just a customer or a user or a number. To me, I kind of think of it as sort of the people's bank.
BECU is made up of the community. It is driving and making a better environment and community for all of us.
I want to go the extra mile for our members because they're my friends, my family, my neighbors. I want to do what's right by them because they will do what's right by me.
It's really special that BECU provides us paid time off to volunteer. We get to spend time with causes that we feel very passionate about. Last year, I spent about 500 hours volunteering in a local high school. I was coaching a cheer team. What's rewarding to me when I volunteer is seeing the people that I work with understand their full potential.
Through volunteering, you see other people's lives, you see their stories. You get a much bigger, better grasp of what the world around you is all about.
Today is Closing for Good. This is our annual day of service. Every BECU employee is going to be spread out to different high schools, and we're going to teach young adults about financial literacy.
I'm going to be on my own, and knowing how to manage myself and my money is important.
It kind of gave me an idea of how to save money and what to spend and what not to spend.
It definitely will help me in the future when I want to buy a house or a car.
It means so much to our school and our community to have BECU give their time to our students.
I bank with BECU because of their core values. It's a company that has a lot of the same beliefs I do as a business. They are just really good people.
One thing that I really love about BECU is the financial health check. It gave me the opportunity to understand how I can better pay down my current student loans, to pay off my car loans, as well as save for my child's education.
What's great about working for BECU is the company truly cares about me and my family's financial wellness. BECU's employee investment program has really helped my husband and I be able to plan for retirement and save for our daughter's college.
Well, I absolutely love to travel. The BECU visa is really great for me. It doesn't have a foreign transaction fee. I also always appreciate the security efforts to make sure it's actually me making all these purchases when I'm international.
Receiving the BECU Foundation Scholarship was a real honor, and it helped relieve a lot of the stress of me and my family. As a college student, financial assistance means everything. And the fact that BECU cares about their members so much to give me the scholarship really says something about how they value community.
As a member-owned financial cooperative, we're all about improving and maintaining our members' financial health, helping others, and to live out the credit union philosophy of people helping people.
Who does that?
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 Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your BECU Board Chair, David Yonts.
Welcome, everyone. What an amazing selection of photos. I really like the video. Can you believe all those images were submitted by BECU members? I'm David Yonts, and I've had the privilege of being a BECU board member for the past 8 years and chairing the board for the past 3 years. I've watched the Members Summit and annual meeting evolve from a very small gathering of members in 2015 to this crowd of more than 400 tonight. It was great to see so many of you exploring the expo, participating in our volunteer projects, and attending the breakout sessions. After we wrap up the annual meeting, we'll have more breakout sessions so you can all get your retirement questions answered, attend a session for first-time homebuyers, and learn about tax reform. I hope you all stick around. We're honored to have some elected officials here tonight. Please join me in welcoming Tukwila Mayor and former BECU employee Alan Eckberg, and Kyla Blair, business liaison for Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin. Thanks for joining us, Alan and Kyla. We are live streaming portions of tonight's annual meeting through Facebook Live and on our website. So welcome to everyone who's watching online. As some of you know, BECU, originally named Fellowship Credit Union, was founded in Washington State in 1935 to help solve a problem during the Great Depression. Boeing employees needed access to small loans. A small group of Boeing employees came together, pooled what little money they could spare, and started helping their colleagues. More than 80 years later, BECU has more than 1 million members and is the 4th largest credit union in the country. But despite the growth and the change over the years, we're still a not-for-profit, guided by the credit union philosophy of people helping people. Helping members in our communities has always been a tenet of who we are here at BECU. For over 2 decades, we've been supporting students through the BECU Foundation and encouraging employees to get involved with their community by matching donations and offering paid time off to volunteer. In 2017, BECU donated over $5 million to support our communities in Seattle, Spokane, South Carolina, and beyond. The theme of today's Member Summit is Community Impact, and we're here to celebrate the ways we give back, both big and small. Whether it's helping an elderly neighbor, volunteering for a cause you're passionate about, or serving on a nonprofit board, we all have a role to play. If you haven't already, I encourage you to check out the Community Impact Space and volunteer project after we're done here. I did it and it was a great experience. We have a fast-paced agenda tonight. In addition to conducting the business of the BECU annual membership meeting, CEO Benson Porter will cover BECU's 2017 accomplishments and plans for 2018. Now it's time to begin the annual meeting portion of the evening. Please take a look at the handouts you were offered as you came into the auditorium. If you took a handout, you should have tonight's agenda. On the back, you'll see the rules of the procedure for the annual meeting, minutes from the 2017 annual meeting, and BECU's 2017 annual report, including the audit report. So let's get down to business. I'm pleased to begin the 82nd annual membership meeting of BECU. Let the meeting now come to order. Tony, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Tony. I appoint Bill Lynch as parliamentarian. I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The motion has been made and we have a second to adopt the agenda as published. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. The minutes of our last annual membership meeting held on April 19, 2017 were provided to attendees. Are there any corrections to the minutes? With no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Roger. The motion has been made and we have a second to approve the minutes of the annual membership meeting held April 19, 2017. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. That motion carried. Now I'd like to talk about the BECU Board of Directors. Our board is made up of representatives of you, our member owners. BECU's board members are seasoned professionals who bring a wealth of knowledge and perspective to their work for BECU. The board is accountable for overseeing the business and affairs of BECU, hiring and supervising the CEO, approving the strategic direction for the cooperative, establishing policies governing BECU's operations, and most importantly, ensuring our overall safety and soundness. Current board members, will you please stand? I'd like to thank our board members for all their hard work to help guide the strategic direction. Now I'd like to invite Susan Ehrlich, our Audit Committee Chair, to give the Audit Committee report. Susan.
Thanks, David. So the Audit Committee works closely with the Board of Directors and with the Executive Management Team to ensure BECU's safety and soundness. I'd like those Audit Committee members that are in the audience this evening to please stand. And can you all join me in a round of applause to thank them for their service this year? Thanks. And now for our report. So the Audit Committee retained an independent audit firm, Crowe Horwath, to review our 2017 financial statements. And I'm pleased to report that in their opinion, the financial statements fairly present the strong financial position of BECU. So now let's move on to board elections. And Desiree Sayre, who is the nominating committee chair, is here to take you through the process we followed this year for board elections. Desiree?
Good evening, everyone. Our nominating committee invests time and deliberation into maintaining the right balance of skills, experience, and perspective that our board of directors needs to effectively oversee this large and growing credit union. We made a call for interested candidates last autumn, and a recruitment firm that specializes in board placements reviewed letters of interest and resumes from members seeking board positions. After the candidates were identified, the nominating committee reviewed the qualifications and selected candidates for interviews. A total of 21 candidates were reviewed for potential board membership. After careful evaluation, we selected for the board recommendation of 3 nominees, 3-year terms, and 2 nominees for the Audit Committee for a 2-year and a 3-year term. We provided 3 ways for you, our members, to cast a vote of approval: online, by phone, and by voting via mail. We asked members to vote between Monday, March 12th, and Friday, April 6th. So tonight, I have the honor of sharing the results of the election and introducing our newly elected and re-elected board members. We welcome Matthew Oppenheimer to the BSU Board of Directors for a 3-year term. Matthew is the co-founder and CEO of Remitly, a leading fintech company here in Seattle. And we welcome back Deborah Somberg and Susan Ulrich for the second 3-year terms. Matthew, Deborah, and Susan, please stand and be recognized. We would also like to ask the 2 individuals to the new members to the Audit Committee to stand: John McMurray for a 3-year term, and Jesse Woolley Wilson for a 2-year term. John is, thank you. John is new to the Audit Committee, and he's the Chief Risk Officer and Chief Audit Officer for Russell Investments. Jessie is in her 2nd year with us, and John and Jessie, along with Jane Rapensek and myself, will complete the Audit Committee. Next up, I just want to let you know that we have selected our new board chair, which will be Susan Ulrich, who will be taking over from David Yance. Please join me in congratulating Susan, and also our deep appreciation to David for his leadership as our board chair.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and David, I'll turn it back.
Thanks, Desiree. Before we wrap the annual meeting portion of tonight's meeting, I want to do a little recognition of my own. Roger Molden, could you please stand? Roger is BECU's longest-serving board member. He's been on the board since 1983. He's also been a board member or a BECU member for 41 years. Roger is retiring from the board tonight after helping chart BECU's course for the past 35 years. We're really going to miss you and your wife, Diane, and your great sage advice. Congratulations, Roger. "2017 was a very successful year for BECU, and that momentum continues into 2018. Now I'd like our CEO, Benson Porter, to come up and share some of his highlights with you.
Well done. So David, before you exit stage right, I had to get coached on which is left and right. And apparently you do it from looking out. We wanted to, on behalf of the management team, thank you for your service as chair of the board the last 3 years. Tonight's talking about community impact, and David has been a stalwart on the board of supporting community impact. I think you've attended almost every community event that BECU has sponsored during your tenure on the board, and we appreciate that leadership from the board supporting those efforts. And we look forward to you continuing to serve on the board for another year where you wrap up your term. Great, so thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We know there was a lot of probably competing weather for your attentions, and we appreciate you spending time with us. I'm entering my 6th year as CEO at BECU and honored to be part of this BECU community. It's a great organization, and if you're in my shoes, there's really two things that really make it special. One, I get to work alongside some really passionate and very bright individuals. They're all working towards making progress on the ideals behind the people helping people philosophy, and we try to do that every day for our members, and it's a lot of fun when you have a team that's all rowing in one direction. So I'm buttering them up in case there's any hard questions later. I'll be phoning a friend. So David described the motivation behind our original founders 83 years ago, and these Boeing workers came together to solve a problem, and it's the same inspiration that inspires us today, and it really remains strong and steady in what we really try to do for BECU. We all belong to this special community called BECU, and our vision is an important reason why. It has always been about it's more than just money. It's about our members receiving the benefit of the cooperative and then sharing that positive difference with fellow members of the cooperative. Because of this people helping people and our unwavering focus on delivering on it, our membership continues to grow. BECU is now the 4th largest credit union in the country. We've added almost 125,000 new members this past year, which included 8,200 small businesses, which was our smallest single growing category of new members. And as of this week, your co-op is now serving 1.1 million members, which is quite an accomplishment we all should be proud of. A big part of our steady growth, though, over the years has been our commitment to making banking easier, and that we utilize a lot of digital tools to try and do that. And I think a general mindset that we always put our members' interests first, and that really kind of drives our decision-making around the executive table. But to be clear, growth has never been the objective of BECU. I think it's more the outcome and reward of making a positive difference for our members. And by serving more members, our cooperative gains greater resources, and those resources are then in turn put to work for members in the community. So it's a great virtuous circle. The more we do, the more resources we have, so the more we're able to do. So we will keep on that track. Well, this past year, while we continue to invest in our digital access, knowing how important it is anytime, anywhere for members to access their BECU accounts, we welcomed 4,500 new members from the new communities we entered last year that we talked about, and that was expanding into the Spokane community and into Charleston, South Carolina with our Boeing relationship. And as part of that expansion, we also continued to invest here at home. We opened 5 new neighborhood financial centers last year. They were in West Seattle, Everett, Seattle Hill, Greenwood, Wallingford, and a 3rd location in North Spokane. And looking forward, we continue to expect making these additional investments into our footprint to serve this growing membership. Earlier this year in January, we opened a downtown Seattle location on 6th Avenue, which is very visible, a great showcase location for us. And we plan to open 3 additional neighborhood financial centers the remainder of the year, one in South Lake Union, in Newcastle neighborhood, and in Sammamish. So as you can see, we're continuing to invest into the footprint to support this growing membership. We're also going to try something new, and that we're going to open a home loan center in the Spokane market later this summer, which is something we have not tried before. When we entered the Spokane market, we talked about wanting to try new things and have that be a good test market for us, and so this is one of the first things we're going to be trying to do, and have a specialized office that does mortgages for our members there. Now, speaking of something new, I'm sure you noticed that we rolled out a new brand logo this past November. We wanted a logo that both represented both our history and our future, and we're really pleased with the response we've had thus far from our membership. And as you know, you can be a very engaged group, and we heard a lot of feedback. So when we looked at all the comments that came through social media, there was about 86% positive feedback. Now, that's not to say that it was unanimous. And we do recognize change like this does take some time to get used to, and some of you were more than happy to give us your peace of mind about that. In fact, one of the favorite comments I heard from a member was the member knew the benefits of the logo change and said they would grow to like it just like they got used to eating kale. As someone who's trying to eat more kale, that comment resonated with me. So whether you love the new look or you need more time to get used to it, our new logo is more visible, which was one objective, and it's more practical in terms of its vertical and horizontal application for building signage, putting on debit and credit cards on ATMs. It gives us a lot more flexibility, and it also helps us in the digital media The old scripted E proved to be difficult in digital media, and so the new block is much crisper and works much better. And again, we're orienting ourselves trying to be digital forward, and so this brand logo was part of that effort. So it will take some time to roll out completely. We plan to take time over the next year to make these changes and do it as part of our natural refresh in order to be judicious with our spending of money. So that's you can expect to see those changes over the next year at neighborhood financial centers. Now, I believe you all recognize BECU is unique in a number of ways, and so I wanted to touch on a few of those because it really kind of goes to who we are and really the report on the state of your credit union. For those of you, I think one thing that is unique about us is that we are constantly striving to return more value to our membership. And the way we measure that is by what we call return to member, which is a key success metric for the organization, which I think is not common in most organizations. And I think it's what sets us apart. So the return to member is the amount of money we help save you, our members, versus what you pay for products from average banking charges. So last year we gave back almost $187 million to our members in return to member, which equated to about $179 per member, and that's even with a growing membership of additional 125,000 members. So we feel very good about that. And we're very conscious about, with this low interest rate environment, most of the benefit of return went to our borrowers versus our savers. And as we see interest rates rising, we see that balance probably coming into better equilibrium. So in addition to rates, though, fees are a key part of what we try to provide value to our membership. And so we reduced a number of fees this past year that I wanted to point out and remind you all of. We eliminated the foreign transaction fee when members use their debit or credit card when they travel overseas, which was a great savings. We also waived $17 million in mortgage origination fees for our membership. And we relaunched a new BECU cashback Visa credit card with a cashback reward of 1.5%, which is 50% better than our old rewards card, and we kept the no annual fee feature of it. So we think that's been very well received by the membership. In addition, based upon requests from members, we have now added to our online banking, providing free credit scores to our membership when you log into online banking. Hopefully you're finding that of value as well. And we're also working busy behind the scenes, doing things that may be a little less visible. We're trying to improve the experience and to keep your data safe. We know that's a key priority for all of us. So we're upgrading our loan origination and our IT systems, introducing a number of new benefits, such as making it easier to notify us when you're going to be traveling so you don't get that pesky, your card has been turned off, which I received one of those today. And I didn't go anywhere, I was just here. So perhaps one final example of fee reductions that we just implemented this year is that we are now starting to refund ATM withdrawal fees. If you use an ATM that's not part of the co-op network or the BECU network, and you're charged a fee for using that machine, we'll now rebate. And we've already rebated over the first 6 weeks of introducing it about $900,000 to our members. So allowing them, if they see an ATM, it's their ATM to use, and they know they won't incur a fee up to a certain limit each month. Now this year we're going to continue to look for more unique ways to improve the experience and reduce costs, but there are probably 4 specific areas I wanted to dig into just a little bit more deeply with the membership. The first is home ownership in Seattle is a challenge. We all recognize that. We want to do our part. One thing we've started to do is initiate a first-time home buyer grant, which is up to 2% or $6,500 for members for down payment and closing cost assistance. We've already seen a substantial number of members take advantage of this, and we've reserved in the pipeline right now $250,000 for first-time home buyers that we're going to make a meaningful difference with and allowing them to help hopefully make a difference in getting into a new home. Home buying is a complicated process. We're going to keep working to simplify that process. We're working on a new experience loan origination system that will improve the experience for our member and for our employees that do that. We worked on it this past year. We have reduced our closing times by 9 days for members that are purchasing homes, so that's an improvement. But that's an area we're going to keep focusing on because we know that's a complicated, big transaction. There's lots of regulatory requirements, and we are going to have a experience that we think will be competitive with Rocket Mortgage and some of the other things you may hear about in the market. We know we need to keep making improvements there, so that's going to be an area of focus this year for us. And a standing topic that you heard about in the video is supporting the financial health of our membership. We have several things lined up there that we're going to be working on. We want to be providing help for consolidating student loans. So that'll be an area you'll be seeing us working on. We want to promote the automation of savings for members that want to create more automated savings to help them accumulate more of those reserves. And we're going to be continuing our one-on-one financial health checks that we do with members. We did 1,300 individual financial health checks with our members this past year, and to very great response. And so about how people can take incremental changes to kind of put them on the journey that they want to be on with their finances. And so if you're not familiar with the financial health check, you can learn more on becu.org, and you can sign up for participating in one there. So hopefully you'll see advantage of doing that. And as always, we're going to keep making digital enhancements, both mobile enhancements, online banking enhancements, making those platforms as secure as possible. That continues to be a priority for the organization, and as it has been for several years. I think another differentiator of BCU that probably is important to point out, given the theme of tonight, which is about community impact, is we take our position of extending value to our membership very seriously, and we believe it extends to supporting our members' values in the community. So we work hard. We support a number of local organizations that are really at the heart of the people helping people philosophy. Some of those organizations, which I'll talk about momentarily, I've gotten myself out of queue here. We really focus on three core areas. The first is around financial health, then member-inspired giving, and employee-inspired giving. So we'll talk a little bit about each of those. All up, BSU donated about $5.4 million last year in cash and in-kind services to support these organizations. And it's really part of our commitment of improving and maintaining the financial health of our membership and our communities. So that's really what we're focused on. So we partner with organizations that are terrific in the community that have the same type of mission. Organizations like Junior Achievement, Housing Hope, who we did the volunteer project for today, Express Credit Union, who does some tremendous work, and a Spokane-based SNAP. So again, great organizations, and that's a part of our commitment is helping them be successful and achieve their mission as well. So in terms of our member-inspired giving, there's some really exciting programs that we launched this past year. Last summer, we launched a program called Make a Purchase, Make a Difference, where BECU donated a cent for each transaction a member purchased with their debit card. So after the end of the 2 months, we had $500,000 accumulated in this People Helping People award pool, and we were able to recognize 18 fabulous organizations and 51 organizations that had been previous People Helping People award winners. And what we really love about this program is you direct it. You nominate the organizations you'd like to see BECU support, and then you, the membership, vote on those that get the grants. So you're sourcing and you're selecting. And so thank you for your help there, because it allows us to identify organizations we probably wouldn't have as much information about. So very exciting campaign, very successful. Members loved it. We saw good utilization of people participating, and we'd expect to run a campaign like that again this year. Our employees, who are the secret sauce at BECU and deliver the great experience and all the innovation and technology improvements, also are passionate about giving back. And so we have several employee-inspired programs that also reinforce our commitment to the community. One is we match up, last year we matched up to $500,000 of our employee contributions that supported nearly 700 organizations, which is another way we support organizations that are outside the financial health umbrella. And we also provide paid leave, so our employees can participate in those organizations that are inspirational to them. So we had over 500 employee volunteers last year contribute nearly 11,000 hours of volunteer time to support not-for-profits in our communities. So something that we're proud and will continue to work on. So as always, we're going to continue to focus on financial health, and I think one notable way we put our financial health together is something you heard about in the video, is closing for good. It's really our day of giving at BECU, where we close our doors. All of our 1,700 employees go out to area high schools. Last year was about 12 area high schools. And we teach financial reality fair. Students are given a persona, a family, a job, and they have to go out and make purchasing decisions like real life. And then next round is they have to try and balance their budget. And what's great about it is they're able to make some mistakes and learn some lessons in a safe environment that they can then use as they go out and launch into post-high school trajectories. So this year, we get great response from the schools and the participants. I heard some quotes from students like, "It's really hard to be an adult." How do you make these choices? And it's a lot of fun for our employee participants too. I staff the auto booth, and our job was to upsell them just like real life on a car bigger than they probably really need. And then when they come back and have to trade in their BMW or a truck and get a bus pass or a bicycle, it was very deflating, but a good learning moment. So next year we're going to expand the number of high schools that we are able to do this with, and we expect to expand well beyond 7,000 students that we'll be able to conduct this financial education for. I mentioned financial health checks before as well for our membership. We do the closing for good for our students. We do a financial health check for our members. It's a great way to take manageable steps towards building a stronger future. If it's something you'd be interested in, certainly would encourage you to learn more about it, because it's something that we have really worked on this last year to really perfect and add value to you and your time and make sure it's time efficient. And so would suggest you take a look at it. It is a great program. And one of my favorite programs that we do is what we call a loan reprice program. So if you as a member get a consumer loan from us, and whether it's an RV, car, boat, line of credit, credit card, and you improve your credit score throughout the year through just, hopefully, conscious efforts, we will automatically lower your interest rate just to recognize that good effort. Now, this is a one-way street. It's not a two-way street if you go the other way. So last year, and this isn't a loss leader, we lowered the rate for 45,000 of our members, so it was a very meaningful number. And we saved them collectively $3.6 million in interest, which is, again, is money that stays in their pockets that they can help use to achieve their financial objectives. So I'm not aware of any other financial services company that does this, back to the video, right? It's something that I think is unique and something that we've continued to expand over the years, and we think it's something that really speaks to what people helping people means at BECU. So it's not only about lending, it's also about promoting thrift and savings. And so we have member advantage checking and savings accounts, which offer premium interest rates on the first $500 to really encourage that setting up of savings. For savings, we're paying 6%. Checking is 4%. There's probably some disclosures I should be putting along with that. But all in all, it's a really good deal, well above market rates. And it's really a great encouragement for people to set up savings. We also extended to our early saver accounts for kids under 18 and under. When I went and opened up the accounts for my kids over this past winter break, I ran into 3 other parents doing the same thing with your kids, which I can tell you as CEO made me feel really good that we're helping support kids learn about how to manage money at an early age. So I think it goes to our mission and something that we all can be proud of, that the cooperative is working and pursuing its purpose. Another way that BECU supports the community is through our foundation. Our foundation was started in 1995 based on a member suggestion about creating a scholarship program for our member students. And so last year we were able to award 80 students, BECU members, $3,000 scholarships. And this year we plan to expand the program. We've never done renewable scholarships before, and so we're going to allow them to be renewed for an additional year, recognizing that college expenses have a little longer tail on them and we want to be able to provide more support. So since inception, the foundation has provided $2 million in scholarships. And a lot of the money raised for the foundation is through employee volunteerism, bake sales at the office, et cetera, types of things. So again, this is just part of the good work that your cooperative is doing for our students. The reason we're able to return the value, reduce the fees, support the community, build the financial health is because BECU is in a very safe and sound financial position right now. And one way we measure that is through our capital. So the regulators require credit unions to maintain at least 7% capital, and that's the capital reserve versus total assets of the credit union, in order to be considered well capitalized. I'm happy to report that BECU is closer to 11%, so well above the 7% well capitalized level. So it puts us in a very safe position. And in today's uncertain economic and political environment, safety and soundness of your credit union has never been more important. And so we view this safety net as a rainy day fund to help us be able to maneuver through any turbulence that may be ahead of us, whether it's predicted or not. And I think it makes us very well positioned to manage these unexpected shifts and continue to support you as we've done for years. Another way that we think about the health of the credit union is really the health of our membership, because the credit union is really no healthier than our membership. And so one way we measure the financial health of our membership is looking at the amount of savings that our members have. So over this past year, our deposits grew a little over 9%, so good, healthy growth in our deposits. Our current members increased their savings with us by over $620 million, and new members added another $628 million, leading year-end deposits to be close to $16 billion. Now that $16 billion gave us a very strong deposit base and allowed us to fund nearly 165,000 loans this past year, totaling $5.8 billion. So lots of economic activity with our membership, and again, it's the whole idea of people helping people and depositors and lenders and our platform bringing them together. Now, the full details of our financial performance and it will be in our annual report, which will be published shortly on becu.org. It will have a lot more information that you may be interested in. Now, I'm kind of a numbers guy, but I recognize numbers are important, but they're not the most important thing. The unique programs help set us apart, and the financial strength is great, but what really matters to us is what you think about BECU. And so the way we measure that is Net Promoter Score, or called NPS. So to give you a little sense of context for NPS before I tell you what our NPS score is just describe it a little bit. So it's an index that kind of ranges from -100 to +100. And it measures how willing people are to recommend an organization. So when we calculate our NPS score, it's when we ask you about your experience with BECU and if you'd be willing to refer a friend or family member to the organization. Are you an advocate? Do you think we're doing a good job for you? So while we're really proud of our Net Promoter Score, we also wanted to look around at some other industries and kind of see how does it compare, and also with some other local organizations. So we want to share that perspective with you before we report back our Net Promoter Score. It may not be a surprise to you that internet and cable companies have the lowest Net Promoter Score of 2. And in fact, some internet cable companies are lower than 2 and are a negative number. I won't tell you who I use, but that didn't shock me. It then moves into the healthcare industry. Healthcare insurance moves into the teens. Then you see pharmacies are in the 20s. And again, these are industry averages, so it's not intended to try and talk about any specific company. The banking industry, which BECU would fall under, is on average score, Net Promoter Score of 35. Hotels are at 41. Online shopping and specialty stores move up to the 50 and 60 range. So that kind of gives you a sense of kind of where industries are ranked. And then we looked at some of the local organizations that have very strong consumer followings. For example, Starbucks and Costco both have Net Promoter Scores in the 70s. So that kind of gives you a sense of the range, 2 to 70. And you can judge your own experience with those industries if you think that's accurate. So for 2017, BECU recorded a Net Promoter Score of 73.3. That score is one of the highest in the U.S. By the applause, clearly many of you are promoters. Thank you. We will continue to work hard to keep earning your trust and delivering that experience that you would continue to recommend us. We also think it's part of that secret sauce. If I had to tell you how we manage the organization, there's really 2 things we look at. Return to member and Net Promoter Score are really, from a management perspective, 2 of our leading indicators of are we doing a good job for the membership, and that's why I tried to spend time on both of them today. So before we wrap up the annual meeting and open up to questions, I'd like to invite David back up to join me. And so you see we have 2 microphones at the front of each aisle. We'd love to have any questions. This is your time to ask a question of the chair of the board or myself.
It's not actually a question, but I received one of the congratulations in the mail for my credit card doing a good job and that you lowered my score. And it actually really made my day. I know it's really silly. But I mean, and it was something that I'd been working hard on my credit score, so it was nice to receive that as a further confirmation that I was doing a good job. So thank you.
Great.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a question. All the proceedings today did go by the Robert's Rules of Order, or is there a modified Robert's Rules?
We have appointed a parliamentarian, and that feels like that moves out of the CEO's realm to the parliamentarian's realm.
The reason I am asking is that, this minutes, is that approved? Anybody say yes? Who did it? We have no clue. Somebody's name should be mentioned. Who it was, who seconded it. Right now, some voice came out of here. Yes, I seconded. Who did that? We have no clue. So please, we might be, don't think that we are too dumb. So please adhere to some kind of rules, okay? It almost looks like a rubber stamp. Go forward. Please. Thank you. By the way, I've been a BECU member since 1973. Thank you.
Thank you for being a member for so long. I am Bill Lynch, that's my name, and I'm the parliamentarian. The Board of Directors approved meeting rules which provide for the application of Robert's Rules of Order where the meeting rules are silent. In this case, with regard to the identification of people who are simply moving and seconding, it's not necessary for them to speak. They are visible, and you can ascertain by their appearance that they're present. The general principle, however, is that these issues can be addressed in this manner where the board provides the alternative rules because of the great size of the meeting. Do you have any more questions?
Just the name of the person, it doesn't take a long time. We have no clue. Somebody can yell out yes.
Deborah Somberg moved.
And Roger Malden seconded.
I have a question and probably a comment more than a question, but I've been a member since 1965, so I'd like to know if there's somebody in here who's been a member before that. But I've reached a point in my life where I like to see companies do things for seniors. And I wondered what kind of programs or are you even thinking about the senior population, because we're going to be a pretty big number here in the next couple of years. And what kind of programs can you suggest to us that we would like to participate in? That's my question.
Great, thank you for your interest. I guess I would answer that a couple ways. One is I think we have some breakout sessions here today that go to different life stages, from first-time home buyer to retirement planning, tax planning, etc. We try to think about our members' life stages and what they may need at those, and that's partly why we offer these different programs here today. And we also look at return to member when I talked about thinking about borrowers and savers. Oftentimes, younger career, more apt to be borrowing and more apt to be thinking about savings as thinking about retirement. And so we do think about our value proposition and how we think about the personas of our members that are going through these different stages and how we can support them. So that is something that we're conscious about. David, do you have anything else from the board's perspective?
Well, it's people helping people, and we're out here to help the membership, and we need to be aware of the demographics of the member and make sure that we're taking care of all the members in the membership base.
Like a lot of people, I was very disappointed with the banking industry and the coming out of the recession, and I'm very pleased with the credit union, and the things are still not well with the banking industry. The less said about Wells Fargo, the better. And I think environmental groups are targeting Morgan Chase again. I think May 7th they're going to have something because they're still investing in coal and tar sands. But you have been doing a much better job, and you're investing in the community. And I hope that you actually focus on explaining to the public that you are not a bank and that you invest in the community and what a credit union is, and perhaps invite people who are now in banks to switch over.
Thank you for that feedback, and all of us are part of this cooperative, and we spend a lot of time thinking about how do we communicate the differences, and sometimes things like credit or union in our name are viewed as challenging for members whether or not they're eligible to join. So you hear our advertising say anyone in the state is eligible. So we do try to work on that issue. We do think we offer members a great value, and we'd love to be able to help more.
Even better, why do they not offer a higher interest rate? You know, interest rate is so low, it's only no incentive to save. And I was thinking, wouldn't this be a positive thing for the BECU to offer a higher interest rate than they do, which isn't much, but yes, it's better than the banks. And maybe have it on a scale, either if you're a senior citizen, you get a little higher rate, or else the more you're saved, the more you have saved, you get an incentive of a little higher interest rate. Something to create savings that will help people.
Well, on the topic of savings, I tried to mention one product where most institutions pay their highest interest rate for the depositors that deposit the most money with them. You know, 100,000 CD gets more than a 10,000 CD. We've taken the reverse approach to that, trying to encourage savings and paying our highest interest rates on the first $500 for everyone who has the member advantage account with us. And so we are trying to encourage savings. We do recognize with rising interest rates, while the last few years we have not had a lot of competition in deposits, it will become increasingly, and we're starting to think about that, and we're starting to make moves in our deposit rates recognizing that. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. It's great for our management team and our board to hear, so we appreciate your comments. Yes?
I love BECU. You are my favorite credit union. Unfortunately, my children both moved out of state and apparently are no longer eligible to be members of BECU. And I have told them they should join a local credit union, but it doesn't get very far with them, and I can kind of understand why, because BECU does such a wonderful job, and I've heard not such wonderful things about other credit unions. So that's my dilemma. My kids both live out of state. What can I do?
Well, I'm not sure how we can help you with that aspect, but in terms of membership, we have members in all 50 states. And given the digital access and mobile access, you know, the mobile phone is our largest branch, and it goes anywhere, anytime.
That's what I thought, but I thought, well, how can they serve people in South Carolina? So are you a national credit union, or what's the deal?
Well, it's nothing's ever easy, and regulation can be complicated. In South Carolina, it was really an expansion with the Boeing company, so we're supporting Boeing employees in South Carolina. If you're a member, your family members can become a member as BECU as well.
Great.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. I want to thank you for holding the Member Summit for, I think, the third consecutive year. My name is Andrew Villeneuve. I've been a member of BECU now for 10 years. My nonprofit also joined 10 years ago. We've been very pleased with our BECU experience. We're getting great service, and we feel like your employees treat us with the utmost care and respect. So we really appreciate that. I want to encourage you to continue growing the small business membership base, and also to establish a portal on the BECU website that caters to nonprofits. I see a lot of nonprofits still using big banks, Wall Street banks. I think that's a mistake. I think the co-op should serve nonprofits, especially in our community, and let them know that the days of inconvenience with credit unions are over, really, and that we have all the services that a bank might offer them. So let's get that nonprofit portal up and get more nonprofit members to the credit union.
I love your enthusiasm. We have had discussions about serving the not-for-profit sector. We serve many. Thank you for your membership, but we certainly like to serve more. And we entered the business services realm during the financial crisis when we heard from a lot of our members that they wanted a better option from where they were banking then. And so we entered it. It's now one of our fastest growing segments. I mentioned we added over 8,000 small business members last year. We have over 45,000 today. And so we continue to make enhancements into those services, recognizing that you start at zero and you build up from there. And so we have some more things to do, and maybe focusing on not-for-profit sector would be a good one for us. Thank you. Two more.
Hello, my name is Vanessa. I work in BECU, but I'm also a member, and I have actually been a member longer than I've worked here. I came over from a big bank that I will not name, but just recently got in trouble. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done in taking our, as a member, suggestions into consideration. The refund of the ATM fees was amazing. It's really nice that you don't have to just stick with co-op ATMs, but you can go anywhere. And also, like someone else said before me, I also received the congratulations, you're getting the lower interest rate. And even as an employee, knowing that that was gonna happen, well, that might happen, it still felt really, really nice to get that kind of letter or the fancy envelope that it came in. It was really nice.
Well, congratulations and thank you for being part of the team.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you overall. As an employee and as a member, I'm really happy to be with BCU. So thanks.
Great.
My name is Sandra Bensley, and I actually am a small business owner. One of the things that I specialize in is a consulting business for nonprofits. I have brought in 5 accounts this last year into BECU for political campaigns. And you guys, I never have to explain how to set up an account with any one of the people that I've had to deal with. They know what they're doing and they know how to get it done. And I absolutely have loved that it has gone to a 0 payment to get in. And my people that I bring in every year, I brought in 4 the year before, 5 this last year, so, and it will keep going. So I just want to thank you so much for everything that you do for the small businesses.
Well, thank you, and that's Net Promoter Score at work right there.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, my name is Sharonda Mamilo, and my husband and I have been a member of BECU since about 2007, I think. And I early on wanted to transfer our mortgage to BECU, but it takes a while to qualify for that 12-year magical mortgage plan that you have. But in 2009, we were able to qualify for the 12-year. I think it was 2009. And I'm happy to say that I won't have a mortgage before I retire, because BECU's programming and the explanations and the way everything was set up to allow me to easily add additional payments to the basic mortgage was just phenomenal. It was the first time I wasn't scared going into a mortgage. And with the big banks, it's always so much smoke and mirrors. I always think it's a Wizard of Oz kind of an experience. But it wasn't like that with BECU at all. It was like talking to a good friend, and I really appreciated that. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for sticking with it. Sounds like you were focused, and I'm glad it worked out.
Thank you for your questions. For those of you that had a question but didn't have the opportunity tonight, please feel free to submit your questions via the Send a Suggestion link on becu.org. Do we have a motion to adjourn the formal meeting? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. A recording of today's meeting will be available by Monday on becu.org. You've heard a lot of things tonight about what makes BECU so unique. Our membership and the loyalty of our members are at the top of that list. I'd like to ask everyone here tonight to stand. Everyone up. Let's have a round of applause for all of you. If you've been a BECU member for 30 years or more, please stay standing. Wow, that is fantastic. Thank you for your loyalty. It's so wonderful to see so many members here tonight. Whether you've been with us for 30 years or 2 months, thanks to all of you for joining us. The annual meeting is over, but there's still 4 great breakout sessions starting at 7:10 p.m. and other activities, including the Expo, Community Impact pop-ups, and our volunteer project. And in fact, our team from the BECU Member ID Exchange has a table in the Expo. Swing by and say hello and share your ideas for how BECU can improve their service and offering. Again, thank all of you for joining us tonight.
Here. That's it done.